Two sisters, two paths. One chased the fast life of wealth and power, while the other struggled to feed a stranger. In a twist of fate, the man they both judged, one with pity, one with disgust, held the power to change their lives forever. Amaka and Kioma were walking home from school, their bags hanging on their backs. The sun was going down, and people were rushing around, some going home and others setting up their small businesses for the evening. As they walked, Amaka suddenly stopped. She saw a young beggar sitting on the ground, leaning against a wall. His clothes were old and torn, and his face looked tired and hungry, but something about him was different. He was not like the usual beggars. He was young and surprisingly very handsome. Amaka felt sorry for him. "Let's help him," she said, opening her bag to take out some money. Kioma frowned. "Help who?" "Amaka, do you know how many beggars are on the street? If you keep giving money to everyone, you will soon become a beggar yourself." "But he looks really hungry," Amaka said softly. "And do we have extra money to waste?" Kioma asked. "Remember, our house rent is almost due." Amaka stopped for a moment. Kioma was right. Their rent was not complete yet. The money she had was part of what they needed to pay, but something in her heart told her she could not just walk away. Ignoring Kioma's words, Amaka bent down and put some money into the beggar's hand. "Here, buy something to eat," she said kindly. The beggar looked up at her in shock. "Thank you," he said in a weak voice. He stared at the money as if he could not believe someone had given it to him. Kioma shook her head. "You are too soft, Amaka. People will use you one day." Amaka smiled and stood up. "Let's go." As they continued walking, Kioma sighed loudly. "Now you don't have enough money for rent, all because you wanted to play Mother Teresa. What if that guy is just pretending?" Amaka took a deep breath. "If he is pretending, that's between him and God. But if he is truly hungry, at least I helped someone today." Kioma rolled her eyes. "You are too nice. That's why people will keep taking advantage of you." Amaka did not say anything. She knew her sister Kioma was different from her. Kioma always pretended to be rich and told people that her parents lived abroad. But the truth was, their parents were in the village. Kioma did not like people knowing the truth about their lives. Amaka and Kioma reached their small apartment, both feeling tired from the long day. As soon as they got inside, Kioma threw her bag on the floor and turned to Amaka with a serious face. "Amaka, give me your part of the rent," she said, folding her arms. Amaka looked down, feeling a little nervous. "I don't have it right now," she said softly. "Don't worry, Mama and Papa will send money next month, and I will pay you back." Kioma's eyes widened in anger. "Are you joking, Amaka? I can't continue like this. Every time I'm the one helping you, saving you, and look at how foolish you are. You gave your money to a total stranger, a beggar. What if he was lying? What if he just sits there every day waiting for kind-hearted people like you to throw money at him while he does nothing?" Amaka took a deep breath. "It's okay, Kioma. You don't have to talk about people like that. You don't know what he has been going through." Kioma shook her head. "I don't care, Amaka, I really don't. That beggar should go and work and stop being lazy. Everybody has problems, but you don't see all of us sitting on the street begging for money." Amaka sighed. "Not everyone is as lucky as we are, Kioma. Some people really have no choice." Kioma laughed bitterly. "Lucky? Amaka, you call this lucky? We are struggling to pay rent. You don't even have money, and yet you want to act like some hero." Amaka didn't say anything. She just looked at her sister, waiting for her to finish. Kioma pointed a finger at her. "This is the last time I will help you, ever again. Next month, when your rent is due, don't come crying to me. I will not save you again." Amaka felt a small sting in her heart. She had always known Kioma could be harsh, but today she was being too mean. "I understand," Amaka said quietly. "Good," Kioma snapped. She grabbed her towel and stormed into the bathroom, leaving Amaka standing alone in the small living room. Amaka sighed and sat on the small bed they shared. She knew she had made things difficult for herself, but deep in her heart, she didn't regret helping the beggar. The next day, Amaka woke up early. She still felt bad about her fight with Kioma, but she didn't want to think about it too much. After getting ready for school, she packed some food in a small plastic bag. It wasn't much, just some rice and beans from what was left in their tiny kitchen. As she walked to school, she kept looking around until she reached the same street corner where she had seen the beggar the day before. Her heart felt warm when she saw him still sitting there. The moment the young man saw her, his eyes lit up. He sat up quickly, looking at her with surprise. "You came back?" he asked. Amaka smiled and handed him the food. "Yes, I brought you something to eat." The beggar's hands trembled slightly as he took the food from her. "Thank you so much," he said, his voice full of gratitude. "You don't know what this means to me." Amaka sat down on a nearby rock as she watched him eat. He ate slowly as if he didn't want to finish the food too fast. She could tell he had not eaten properly in a long time. After a few minutes, the young man wiped his mouth and looked at Amaka with a small smile. "My name is Amaka," he said. "I'm an orphan." Amaka felt a sharp pain in her heart. "I'm so sorry, Amaka. That must be really hard." He nodded. "It is. I lost my parents when I was little. I grew up in an orphanage. But when I turned 18, I had to leave. Since then, life has been tough. I've tried to find work, but nobody wants to hire someone like me, so I ended up here." Amaka's eyes softened. "That's really sad," she said. "I wish I could do more to help you." Amaka smiled. "You have already done a lot. Yesterday you gave me money. Today you brought me food. You're the first person in a long time who has treated me like a human being." Amaka looked down, feeling shy. "I don't have much, Amaka, but I can bring you food whenever I can." Amaka's eyes filled with gratitude. "That is more than enough. Thank you, Amaka." She smiled at him and stood up. "I have to go now, or I'll be late for school." Amaka nodded. "Be careful on your way." As Amaka walked away, she felt something different in her heart. She didn't know why, but she felt connected to Amaka in a way she couldn't explain. A week later, one evening, Kioma stormed into their small apartment, her face full of frustration. She threw her bag on the table and opened the kitchen cupboard. When she saw that most of their food was finished, she slammed the cupboard door shut and turned to Amaka. "What is going on? Why is our food finishing so fast these days?" Kioma asked angrily. Amaka, who was sitting on the bed, looked up calmly. "We ate it, Kioma. That's why it finished." Kioma folded her arms and raised an eyebrow. "We? Amaka, I barely stay at home. I go out every day, and when I come back, I only eat small food. How is everything finished so quickly?" Amaka sighed. She knew where this conversation was going. Kioma took a step closer, her eyes narrowing. "Amaka, I hope you are not selling our foodstuffs and giving the money to your poor beggar friend." Amaka's face changed immediately. She stood up and looked at Kioma angrily. "Kioma, be respectful. Don't talk about my friend like that." Kioma burst into laughter. "Friend? A poor dirty beggar is now your friend? Amaka, are you hearing yourself?" She shook her head. "I think you're losing your mind. You need to see a doctor as soon as possible." Amaka took a deep breath, trying to control her temper. "Amaka is a human being just like us. If life had been kinder to him, maybe he would be in school just like we are. Stop looking down on people." Kioma rolled her eyes. "Oh please, that boy is lazy. He should go and find work instead of sitting on the street waiting for girls like you to pity him." Amaka ignored her and went to sit back on the bed, but Kioma wasn't done. She sat beside Amaka and lowered her voice. "Since you have no money," Kioma said, "there's something we can do." Amaka looked at her suspiciously. "What is it?" Kioma smiled. "Let's go and see Chief. He likes young girls like us. If we go to him, he will give us anything we want. Money, food, clothes, provided we do whatever he says." Amaka's eyes widened in shock. "Never. I will never be involved in your dirty business. Never." Kioma scoffed. "Dirty business? Amaka, you are suffering. You can't pay your rent, you don't have food, and now you are crying over a beggar. Wise up. Chief will take care of us." Amaka shook her head firmly. "We are from a Christian home. I will keep myself for my future husband." Kioma threw her head back and laughed. "Mother Mary, oh please. Amaka, don't be a fool. Open your eyes. Look around you. Girls are making money every day, and here you are suffering because of useless pride." Amaka said nothing. Kioma smirked. You are missing out, my dear, but don't worry, I will enjoy for both of us. She stood up, picked up her phone and started typing, probably messaging Chief. Amaka just sat there, her heart heavy. She knew Kioma had changed, but she didn't expect her to go this far. She prayed silently in her heart, asking God to help her. The next day the sun was bright, and the air was warm as Amaka made her way back to the street corner where Amika always sat. She carried a small bag with some food inside. She had managed to save a little from what was left in the house, even though she knew Kioma would be furious if she found out. When she arrived, she saw Amaka sitting in his usual spot, looking deep in thought. The moment he saw her, his face lit up with a smile. "You came back," Amika said, sitting up straight. Amaka smiled and handed him the bag of food. "Of course, I told you I would bring you food whenever I can." Amika took the food eagerly but gently, as if he was handling something precious. "You don't know how much this means to me, Amaka." "Thank you." Amaka sat on the small rock beside him and watched as he started eating. After a while, she spoke. "Amaka, there's something I've been wondering about," she said. Amika looked at her curiously. "What is it?" "You said you never went to school, right?" she asked. "Yes," Amika nodded. "Then how come you speak so well?" Amaka asked. "You sound like someone who has been educated." Amika smiled. "I just listen to people when they talk. I pick words from random passers-by and learn how they speak. I'm a fast learner." Amaka was impressed. "Wow, that's amazing. Not many people can do that." Amika chuckled. "Well, when life forces you to survive, you learn quickly." Amaka looked at him closely. She had never met a beggar like him before. He was different. He had confidence in the way he spoke, and his eyes held a kind of intelligence that made her curious. "Where do you live?" Amaka asked suddenly. Amika swallowed the last piece of food and wiped his mouth. "I stay in an uncompleted building," he said simply. Amaka gasped. "What? That's dangerous." Amika laughed. "Dangerous? Don't worry about me, Amaka. I'm a fighter, a warrior. No one can harm me." Amaka couldn't help but laugh, too. "A warrior, you say? And what battles have you fought?" she teased. Amika grinned. "Plenty. I fight hunger every day. I fight the cold at night. I fight people who try to steal from me. And guess what? I always win." Amaka shook her head, smiling. "You are funny, Amika." Amika shrugged playfully. "You have to be strong in this life. If not, people will walk all over you." Amaka sighed. "How I wish I could help you." Amika reached out and gently tapped her shoulder. "You are already helping me, Amaka. Every time you bring me food, you give me hope. That is more than enough." Amaka felt a warmth in her heart. She didn't know why, but being around Amika made her feel something she couldn't explain. He was poor, homeless, and struggling, but he had a strength that even rich people didn't have. At school, Kioma sat with two girls under a shady tree, enjoying their company as they talked. She loved moments like this, where she could make herself feel more important than she really was. "You girls don't understand," Kioma said with a proud smile. "I chose to be in this school. Our parents wanted me to go to a private university abroad, but I refused." One of the girls gasped. "You refused? Why would you do that?" Kioma sighed, acting as if it was nothing. "I just wanted to experience life here. I wanted to be independent. Our parents were not happy about it, but in the end, they let me be." The second girl shook her head in amazement. "Wow, that must have been a big decision." Kioma smiled. "Of course, but don't think they abandoned me. They still take care of me. They send me money every week. I never lack anything." The two girls looked at each other with envy. "You are so lucky. If my parents were rich, I would never have refused to study abroad." Kioma laughed. "Well, I like it here, and honestly, money is not a problem for me." The girl sighed. "I wish I had your life. Everything must be so easy for you." Kioma smiled. She loved hearing those words. "That's why I'm taking you girls out this weekend. Bill's on me." The girls' faces brightened. "Are you serious?" one of them asked in shock. "Of course. What's the point of having money if I can't enjoy it? We'll go to the best restaurant, eat anything we want, and have a good time." The girls could hardly contain their excitement. "Kioma, you are the best." Kioma laughed. She loved the attention, the admiration, and the way people wished they were her. 2 days later, Amaka could not keep her thoughts to herself anymore. She had been thinking about Amika every day, worrying about his safety. The uncompleted building where he slept was not a proper place for anyone to stay. It was risky, open to dangers, and unsafe at night. Amaka told Kioma that she didn't like where Amika was sleeping and that she wanted him to stay with them for some time before she found a solution for him. Kioma immediately rejected the idea. She told Amaka that it was none of her business where Amaka stayed. She said Amaka was beginning to act like someone who was in love with the poor beggar. She told Amaka that she should be tired of suffering, that their parents sent her to school to get a good job and take them out of poverty. But instead she was busy thinking about a poor, ugly beggar. Kioma said it was bad enough that Amaka was wasting her time on Amaka when she could be securing her future. She told Amaka that Chief and his friends were willing to give them money, but she refused the opportunity. Amaka told Kioma that she was talking nonsense. She said she would never go down Kioma's wayward lifestyle and that she was not falling in love with Amaka. She said even if she did, it was not Kioma's business, because she owed her nothing. Amaka warned Kioma to be careful with the old men she followed and to stop living a fake life. Kioma said Amaka could not tell her how to live her life and that she should focus on herself. She said she wanted nothing to do with Amaka's decisions and that she would not live in the same house with a beggar. Amaka had already made up her mind. She was going to help Amaka no matter what Kioma thought about it. A few days later, Amika was in the hospital. He had been attacked by some men who tried to rob him of the little money he begged for earlier that day. They beat him up, kicked him to the ground, and left him in pain. A kind stranger found him unconscious and rushed him to the hospital. Amaka heard about it and rushed to see him. She was worried. When she entered the hospital room, she saw Amaka lying on the bed, looking weak. His face had a few bruises and his arm was bandaged. She quickly turned to the doctor. "Doctor, how is he? Will he be okay?" The doctor smiled. "Don't worry, he is fine. He only has minor injuries. But young lady, this young man needs to find a better place to stay. The streets and uncompleted buildings are not safe. If he continues living like that, things like this will keep happening." Amaka turned to Amika. "Did you hear that? You need to leave that place. It's not safe for you." Amika sighed. "I know, Amaka, but where do you expect me to go? I have nowhere." Amaka took a deep breath. "Come home with me." Amika shook his head immediately. "No, Amaka, I know Kioma will never allow it, and your room is already too small for both of you. I don't want to put you in trouble." Amaka was firm. "Forget Kioma. This is my decision. And as for the space, we will manage. I can't leave you out there again. You almost lost your life, Amaka. What if next time it's worse?" Amaka looked at her, unsure. "Amaka, you don't have to do this for me. You have already done enough." Amaka shook her head. "I have made up my mind. You are coming home with me, and that's final." Amaka hesitated, but he saw the determination in her eyes. He knew she wouldn't take no for an answer. After a moment, he sighed. "Okay, Amaka, if you insist, I will come with you." Amaka smiled in relief. "Good, let's go home." Amaka and Amaka finally arrived home. It was late in the evening and the streets were quiet. As they entered the small apartment, Amaka felt relieved. At least for now, Amaka had a roof over his head. Just as they settled in, Amaka's phone rang. It was Kioma. She hesitated before answering. "Hello, Kioma," Amaka said. Kioma's voice came through the phone, sounding excited. "Amaka, I just wanted to let you know I traveled. I'll be back in 5 days." Amaka was surprised. "You traveled? To where?" Kioma laughed. "You know me, my dear. I have places to be and people to see. Don't miss me too much." Amaka rolled her eyes. "Okay, safe journey." Kioma didn't ask anything about the house or if Amaka was okay. She just ended the call, saying she would see her in 5 days. Amaka put her phone down and turned to Amaka. "That was Kioma. She traveled. She won't be back for 5 days." Amaka nodded. "That's good. At least I won't have to deal with her insults for now." Amaka smiled. "Exactly. For the next 5 days, you can have some peace." Amaka sighed in relief. Thank you, Amaka. I don't know how to repay you. Amaka shook her head. You don't have to repay me, Amaka. Just focus on getting better. For the first time in a long while, Amaka felt safe. The next day, Amaka came home looking sad. She dropped her bag and sat quietly, staring at the floor. Her mind was troubled. Amaka noticed immediately. Amaka, what's wrong? She sighed. It's my school fees. I haven't paid it. Amaka looked at her with concern. Why? I thought your parents always sent you money. Amaka nodded slowly. They do, but this time they couldn't. They suffered a huge loss in their farming business. They barely have enough to eat, so they don't have any money to send me right now. Amika's face softened. I'm really sorry, Amaka. That must be hard for you. Amaka shook her head. It's not their fault. They have done their best for us. I just don't know what to do now. Amaka smiled and raised his hand as if he were holding an invisible staff. I, Pastor Amaka, by the power invested in me, decree that you shall get a helper very soon. Amaka burst into laughter. Oh, really? So now you are a pastor? Amaka grinned. Yes, you can call me Pastor Amaka, the great man of faith. Amaka laughed again. I wish it were that easy. Amaka nodded seriously. God works in mysterious ways, Amaka. Just wait and see. Amaka sighed. I really hope so. The following day, Amaka went to school still worried about her fees. She planned to go to the finance office and ask for more time to pay. But when she got there, something unexpected happened. The staff at the finance office looked at her and smiled. Amaka, you don't need to worry about your school fees. She was confused. What do you mean? They checked their records and told her, your school fees have already been paid. Amaka's eyes widened in shock. Paid? By who? The staff shook their heads. We don't know, but everything is settled. You owe nothing. Amaka stood there speechless. She felt like she was dreaming. Someone had paid her fees, and she had no idea who. Without wasting time, she ran home, her heart racing with excitement. The moment she entered the house, she shouted, Amaka, my school fees have been paid. Amaka smiled calmly. I told you, Amaka, God works in mysterious ways. Amaka sat down, still in shock. I don't understand. I don't even know who did it. Amaka folded his arms. Do you still doubt Pastor Amaka? Amaka laughed. Okay, you win. Indeed, you are a true man of God. Amaka grinned. I told you, when Pastor Amaka speaks, things happen. They both laughed, but deep inside, Amaka couldn't stop thinking about it. Who had paid her fees? 5 days later, Kioma returned home. It was early in the afternoon, and Amaka had already gone to school. Kioma unlocked the door and stepped inside, expecting to find the house just as she had left it. But the moment she walked in, she saw something she never expected. Amaka was sitting quietly in a corner, reading an old book. Kioma froze for a moment, staring at him in shock. Then her face twisted with anger. What are you doing here? She asked sharply. Amaka looked up and stood. Good afternoon, Kioma. Don't good afternoon me, she snapped. What are you doing in my house? Amaka took a deep breath. Amaka brought me here. I was attacked a few days ago and the doctor advised me to find a safer place to stay. Amaka said I could stay here for a while until she found a solution for me. Kioma's expression turned into pure disgust. She looked around the room as if something smelled bad, then she covered her nose dramatically. So Amaka really brought a street beggar into my house, she said. I can't believe this nonsense. Amaka remained calm. I know you don't like me, Kioma, but I didn't force Amaka to do anything. She only wanted to help. Kioma scoffed. Help? Is she planning to turn this house into a charity home? I cannot believe this. First, she wastes her time giving you food, and now she brings you into my space. She pulled out her phone and dialed Amaka's number. The moment Amaka picked up, Kioma shouted, Amaka, come home right now. Amaka, who was still in school, was surprised. Kioma, what's wrong? What's wrong is that I just walked into my house and saw that disgusting beggar sitting here as he belongs, Kioma snapped. Amaka, you have 5 minutes to get here and take him out before I do it myself. Amaka's heart started beating fast. She knew this was going to happen, but she had hoped to explain everything to Kioma properly. "I'm on my way," Amaka said quickly and ended the call. She quickly grabbed her bag and rushed out of the lecture hall, ignoring the curious stares of her classmates. As she made her way home, she could already imagine the storm waiting for her, and she was ready to face it. Amaka rushed home, her heart pounding. She knew Kioma was angry, but she had to try to calm her down. The moment she opened the door, Kioma turned to her sharply. "Amaka, what is wrong with you? How could you bring this beggar into our house without telling me?" Amaka took a deep breath. "Kioma, please listen to me." Kioma folded her arms. "Listen to what?" "That you've turned our home into a charity center. Do you know how embarrassing this is?" Amaka stepped closer. "Kioma, I understand why you are upset, but please just think about it. Amaka has nowhere to go. He was attacked before, and if I send him back out there, what if something worse happens? I know you have a strong heart, but deep down I also know you will not be happy with yourself if he leaves here and something terrible happens to him." Kioma sighed loudly. "Amaka, I don't have time for all this emotional talk. I don't care about him. This is not our problem." Amaka continued. "But Kioma, what if it was you? What if you lost everything and had nowhere to go? Wouldn't you want someone to show you kindness?" Kioma looked away for a moment. She didn't want to admit it, but Amaka's words were touching something deep inside her. Kioma was silent for a moment. She looked at Amaka, who was still sitting quietly, avoiding eye contact. She sighed heavily. "It's just because of God," she finally said. Amaka's heart lifted with hope. "Thank you, Kioma. Thank you so much." Kioma raised a finger. "Wait, don't celebrate yet. I give him just 1 week. He must find somewhere else to stay before then. If not, I will personally throw him back into the street." Amaka nodded quickly. "I understand. 1 week is enough. Thank you, Kioma." Kioma clicked her tongue and picked up her phone, ignoring them both. Amaka turned to Amaka. "You see, everything is fine now." Amaka gave her a small smile. "Thank you, Amaka. I owe you everything." Amaka smiled back, but deep down, she knew this 1 week was not going to be easy. 2 days later, Amaka received heartbreaking news. Their father was very sick, and she was asked to come to the village immediately. She had no choice but to pack a small bag and prepare for the journey. She sat Amaka down and told him about the situation. She assured him that she would be back in 2 or 3 days. Amaka's heart sank. "Amaka, how will I cope with Kioma while you're gone?" Amaka sighed. "I know it won't be easy, but just stay out of her way. I will be back soon." Amaka didn't like the idea of staying alone with Kioma, but he knew Amaka had no choice. He wished he could go with her, but she refused. "Amaka, I will be fine. Our father needs me right now," Amaka said. Amaka finally agreed. He walked with her to the travel bus park, carrying her small bag. Before she boarded, he looked at her one last time. "Be careful, Amaka," he said. "I will," she replied. "Take care of yourself." Amaka watched as the bus drove off. He felt uneasy, but he had no choice but to return home. When Amaka got home, he was surprised to find Kioma waiting for him, with a strange smile on her face. She was leaning against the door, watching him closely. For a moment, Amaka was confused. This was not the Kioma he was used to. "You know, Amaka," Kioma said, her voice unusually sweet, "I never knew you were this handsome." Amaka narrowed his eyes. "What are you talking about?" Kioma stepped closer. "Amaka has really done a good job on you. You don't look like the dirty beggar she picked from the street anymore." She paused, then smiled. "But I can do much better." Amaka frowned. "What do you mean?" Kioma tossed her hair and smiled. "I am more classy and wealthy, unlike your Amaka, who is from a poor background. She has nothing but me. I can change your life." Amika's face darkened. "Kioma, what are you trying to say?" Kioma laughed softly. "Come to me, Amaka. Let's have fun. Let me show you what real enjoyment looks like." Amika's expression turned into pure disgust. "Never. You, Kioma? The same person who sleeps with almost all the wealthy men in this town. You think I haven't heard the stories about you?" Kioma's smile disappeared. Amaka continued. You are someone who will do anything for money, and you stand here talking about wealth? I also know your parents are very poor and struggling in the village. Stop living a fake life, Kioma. Kioma's face twisted in anger. How dare you talk to me like that? I was only trying to help your miserable life. I was even ready to manage you, but you are too dirty and ugly for me anyway. Amaka chuckled. I'm ugly, yet you are here begging me to have fun with you. Kioma's eyes burned with rage. I know that foolish Amaka told you all these things about me. I will deal with her when she returns. Amaka shook his head. She never told me anything. The wolves have ears, Kioma. Change your ways before you get one bad sickness one day. Kioma clenched her fists. Enough. I've had enough of you. Get out of my house this minute. Amaka grabbed his small bag and slung it over his shoulder. I don't care. I was leaving anyway. Without another word, he walked out, leaving Kioma standing there breathing heavily in anger. She had lost control of the situation, and that made her furious. That night, as Amaka sat outside their family's small village house, enjoying the cool evening air, her phone rang. She checked the screen and saw Amaka's name. She answered immediately. Amaka, how are you? How is everything? Amaka sighed. Amaka, I need to tell you something. Amaka's heart skipped a beat. What is it? Amaka wasted no time. He told her everything. How Kioma had smiled at him strangely, how she had suddenly started calling him handsome, and how she tried to convince him to be with her instead of Amaka. He repeated every word she said, including how she insulted Amaka, saying she was from a poor background and not good enough for him. By the time he finished, Amaka was furious. That shameless girl, after all the things she said about you, she had the guts to try and get you for herself? Amaka sighed. She thought I would fall for her because she claims to be rich and classy, but when I refused, she insulted me and told me to leave. Amaka shook her head. That girl has no shame. But I'm not surprised. I knew she was capable of anything. Amaka hesitated for a moment before saying, Amaka, how is your father? Have you seen him? Amaka sighed. That's what I wanted to tell you. Our father was never sick. Amaka was confused. What? Amaka sighed again. Our parents just missed me. They wanted me to come home and see them, so they made up the story to make sure I traveled. Amaka chuckled. Wow, so you came all the way for nothing? Not for nothing, Amaka said. I got to spend time with them, and they are happy to see me. But I'll be coming back tomorrow. I can't stay here when Kioma is trying to turn my life upside down. That's what I wanted to talk to you about, Amaka said. You know she will throw you out the moment you turn right. Amaka scoffed. Let her try. She can't scare me. I know you're strong, Amaka, Amaka said, but listen, I found a job. Amaka's mood changed instantly. What? Amaka, you found a job? Yes, Amaka said proudly. I am now working as a security man for an old couple. They are kind people, and they even gave me the boys' quarters at the back of their house to stay in. Amaka's face lit up with joy. Amaka, this is amazing news. Finally, you have a job. Wait, there's more, Amaka said, sounding excited. Guess what? What? Amaka asked, eager to hear. I told them about you. I explained my situation and everything you have done for me. And guess what? They agreed that you can come and stay with me. Amaka gasped. Are you serious? Yes. They said you seem like a good person, and they are willing to let you stay. So when you come back, you don't have to worry about Kioma throwing you out. Amaka felt tears of joy in her eyes. Amaka, this is the best news I've heard in a long time. I can't wait to come back so we can celebrate. Amaka laughed. You'd better come quickly before Kioma burns all your clothes in anger. Amaka laughed too, feeling happier than she had in days. She had left the city with nothing but worries, but now she was returning with a fresh start. Amaka arrived home early in the afternoon, her heart pounding in her chest. She had made up her mind. She was leaving Kioma's house for good. She knew there was no need for an argument or explanation. Kioma had already shown her true colors, and Amaka had no intention of begging for a place where she was no longer welcome. The apartment was quiet when she entered. Kioma was not around, which was a relief. Without wasting time, Amaka quickly gathered her few belongings, folding her clothes neatly into her small travel bag. She took a deep breath, looked around the room one last time, and then quietly walked out, shutting the door behind her. She knew that once Kioma found out she had left, she would be furious. But Amaka no longer cared. Her life was moving forward, and Kioma was now just part of her past. When Amaka arrived at Emeka's new workplace, she stopped in shock. The house in front of her was not just big, it was a mansion. The tall gates, the beautifully designed compound, and the luxurious cars parked outside all screamed wealth and power. She turned to Amaka in disbelief. "Amaka, this is where you work?" she asked, still trying to process everything. Amaka smiled. "Yes, Amaka." Amaka shook her head. "How did this happen? Just a few days ago you were struggling to find a place to sleep, and now you're working in a place like this." Amaka chuckled. "Let me tell you what happened." He took a deep breath and explained. "The day Kioma chased me out, I was walking on the road with nowhere to go. I was tired, hungry, and frustrated. I sat in a corner crying, not knowing what to do. Then a car stopped in front of me. A man stepped out and asked me why I was crying." Amaka listened attentively. Amaka continued. "I told him everything, how I lost my parents, how I had been struggling on the streets, how Amaka took me in, and how Kioma eventually threw me out. The man listened to me patiently and then asked me a simple question. 'Do you want to work?' Amaka smiled as he remembered that moment. I said yes immediately, and just like that, he offered me a job as a security guard. He brought me here, introduced me to his wife, and told me I could stay in the boys' quarters." Amaka's eyes widened. "Wow, they are so kind. God bless them." Amaka nodded. "Yes, they are really good people." Amaka smiled. "I need to thank them personally." Amaka nodded. "Go ahead. The main house is just inside. They are Chief Okiki and his wife. They are very nice." Amaka straightened her dress and made her way to the main house. When Amaka entered the large, elegant house, she was warmly welcomed by Chief Okike and his wife, Mrs. Ngozi. She smiled respectfully and said, "Good afternoon, Sir Ma. I just came to say thank you for all you have done for Amaka. He has been through a lot, and I truly appreciate your kindness." Chief Okiki and his wife looked at each other, surprised by Amaka's humility and gratitude. Mrs. Ngozi smiled warmly. "You are such a well-mannered young lady. No wonder Amaka speaks so highly of you." Chief Okiki nodded. "Yes, he told us everything. How you helped him when he had nothing, how you risked your own comfort just to make sure he was safe. It is rare to find a woman with such a pure heart these days." Amaka felt shy. "I only did what was right, sir." Mrs. Ngozi suddenly looked at her husband and smiled before turning back to Amaka. "Since Amaka said you two are just best friends, we have something to ask you." Amaka looked at them curiously. "What is it, Ma?" Chief Okiki cleared his throat and said, "We have a son who lives abroad. We have been searching for a good, kind, and respectful woman for him. Someone who will love him not for his money, but for who he is. And from everything we have seen and heard about you, we think you are the perfect match for him." Amaka's heart nearly stopped. "Excuse me?" Mrs. Ngozi smiled. "Yes, dear. We want you to consider marrying our son. He is a hard-working and responsible young man, but he has been so focused on his career that he hasn't settled down. We believe you would make the perfect wife for him." Amaka was speechless. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. "With all due respect, Ma," Amaka finally said, "I am not interested. I have someone." Chief Okiki and Mrs. Ngozi exchanged glances before Mrs. Ngozi said, "It's okay, dear. We understand. We won't force you, but we will give you time to think about it." Amaka nodded. "Thank you, sir. I appreciate the offer, but I already know where my heart belongs." They smiled at her and wished her well as she left. When Amaka returned, she was not happy with Amika. She looked at him with a serious face. "Amika, why did you tell Chief Okiki and his wife that we are just friends and nothing more?" she asked. Amika scratched his head, looking guilty. "I'm sorry, Amaka. I thought if I said anything else, they wouldn't let you stay here." Amaka sighed. Well, because of that, they now want me to marry their son. Amika's eyes widened in shock. What? Yes, Amaka continued. They said I am kind and respectful, and they need a good woman like me for their Anne who lives abroad. Amika swallowed hard. And what did you say? Amaka looked at him with a playful smile. I told them I'm not interested because I already have someone. Mika's heart pounded. Who? Amaka folded her arms. You tell me. Amika took a deep breath and stepped closer. Amaka, listen to me. I need to tell you something. She raised an eyebrow. What is it? Amika looked into her eyes. I love you, Amaka. I have loved you from the first day you gave me food on the street. You are the mother of my unborn children. I don't want anyone else. Amaka's serious face slowly changed. A small smile appeared on her lips. If that's how you feel, then you should go and tell Chief Okiki and his wife, she said. Emeka shook his head. It's not necessary. The only person I need to tell is you. Amaka smiled wider. So what now? Emeka grinned. Now we build our future together, just you and me. Amaka nodded. That sounds perfect. Weeks later, Kioma started feeling sick. At first, she thought it was just stress or maybe a minor illness. She ignored it, thinking she would feel better with time, but as days passed, her condition got worse. She felt weak all the time, had frequent fevers, and lost her appetite. One afternoon, she decided to go to the hospital. After running some tests, the doctor sat her down and gave her the shocking news. Miss Kioma, the doctor said, looking at her with pity, your test results are out. I'm sorry to inform you that you are HIV positive. Kioma felt like the ground had opened up beneath her. Her whole body went numb. No, that's not possible, she whispered. The doctor sighed. I know this is hard to accept, but we need to start you on treatment immediately. Right now, it's 50-50ths for you. Kioma's hands trembled as she held her head. Doctor, what do you mean 50-50ths? The doctor looked at her with concern. It means your immune system is already weak. You should have come earlier. With proper treatment, you can still live a long life, but we need to act fast. Tears rolled down Kioma's face. She thought about all the men she had been with, all the time she ignored Amaka's warnings. Regret hit her like a heavy rock. She left the hospital that day in shock, her whole world crashing down. A few months later, Kioma's condition worsened. Her once glowing skin became pale, her body became weak, and she lost so much weight that people barely recognized her. She could no longer hide the truth. One evening, she had a severe attack and was rushed to the hospital. She was in unbearable pain, crying and struggling to breathe. The doctors did everything they could, but her condition was critical. In her weakest moment, Kioma turned to their mother, her voice barely above a whisper. Mama, please call Amaka, she pleaded, her breathing heavy. Their mother's eyes filled with tears. Amaka. Kioma nodded weakly. Please, I need to see her. Her mother hesitated for a moment, then picked up her phone and dialed Amaka's number. Amaka was at Amika's quarters, helping him clean when her phone rang. She wiped her hands and picked up. Hello? The voice on the other end was shaky. Amaka? It's me, Mama. Amaka immediately felt uneasy. Mama, what's wrong? The voice cracked. It's Kioma. She's in the hospital. Please come quickly. Amaka's heart pounded. Hospital? What happened? She has been sick for months. She didn't tell you. Amaka's breath caught in her throat. No, I had no idea. Please come, her mother begged. She keeps asking for you. Amaka didn't waste another second. She grabbed her bag and ran outside. Amaka tried to stop her, asking what was wrong, but she was too shaken to explain. She took the first taxi to the hospital, her hands trembling the whole way. When Amaka arrived at the hospital, she rushed into the ward. The moment she stepped inside, her heart broke into pieces. Lying on the hospital bed was Kioma, but she looked nothing like the Kioma Amaka once knew. Her once glowing skin was now pale and weak. She had lost so much weight that her bones were visible. Tubes were connected to her hands, and her breathing was slow and painful. Amaka covered her mouth, tears already falling from her eyes. She moved closer and sat beside the bed, holding Kioma's frail hand. Kioma, her voice cracked. Oh my God, look at you. Kioma slowly opened her eyes and saw Amaka. A single tear slipped from the corner of her eye. Amaka, you came, she whispered. Amaka wiped her tears. Of course I came, Kioma. What happened to you? Kioma sobbed weakly. I should have listened to you. I should have listened, Amaka. Amaka shook her head, her chest tight with emotions. I warned you, Kioma. I told you to stop sleeping with all those men. But you didn't listen. Now look where you are. Kioma cried harder. I was foolish, Amaka. I thought money and pleasure were everything, but now I have nothing left. Amaka squeezed her hand. I wish I could do something to help you. Kioma looked into Amaka's eyes, her own filled with regret. Pray for me, Amaka. Pray that God forgives me. Amaka nodded as tears streamed down her face. I will, Kioma. I will. Their mother stood in the corner, weeping silently. She looked at Amaka with deep pain. She always spoke about you, Amaka. Even when she was sick, she regretted everything. Amaka bowed her head, still holding Kioma's weak hand. She closed her eyes and began to pray, her voice filled with emotion. As she prayed, Kioma closed her eyes too, tears rolling down her cheeks. She had made so many mistakes, but now all she wanted was one last chance. Amaka arrived home after an emotional visit to the hospital. Her heart was heavy with everything that had happened with Kioma. She wanted to talk to Amaka, to tell him about the heartbreaking moment she had just experienced. But when she entered the boys' quarters, Amaka was nowhere to be found. She looked around, confused. Amaka, she called out. No answer. She quickly took out her phone and dialed his number. The call connected, and Amika's voice came through. Amaka. Amaka sighed in relief. Where are you? I just got home and I can't find you. I'm in the main house, Amaka said. Amaka frowned. The main house? What are you doing there? Amaka chuckled. Just come. You need to see this yourself. Amaka was even more confused. Why would Amaka be in the main house? She hurried across the compound and into the mansion. When she stepped inside, her heart nearly stopped. Standing in the middle of the living room was Amaka, but not the Amaka she knew. He was wearing an expensive suit, looking clean, sharp, and unrecognizable. His usual simple look was gone, replaced by the image of a wealthy, confident man. Amaka's mouth fell open. Amaka, what is this? Amaka smiled. Surprised, Amaka stepped closer, still in shock. Amaka, what is going on? Why are you dressed like this? Amaka took a deep breath. Amaka, there is something I need to tell you, something I should have told you a long time ago. Amaka's heart raced. What is it? Amaka looked at her seriously. I was never poor or homeless. Amaka froze. What? Amaka nodded. I faked everything. Amaka shook her head, trying to understand. Amaka, I don't get it. Why would you do that? Amaka sighed. Because after so many rejections and heartbreaks, I wanted to find someone who would love me for me, not for my money. Amaka felt like the room was spinning. So all this time you were pretending? Amaka nodded again. Yes, Amaka. I was testing people. I wanted to see if true love still existed, if there was someone who could care for a man with nothing. And then I met you. Amaka's emotions were all over the place. So you lied to me. Amaka looked deep into her eyes. Amaka, I never lied about my feelings. Everything I felt for you was real. But there is more. Amaka swallowed. What more could there be? Amaka hesitated, then said, Chief Okiki and Mrs. Ngozi are my biological parents. Amaka took a step back. What? No, that's not possible. Amaka nodded. It's true. They planned everything with me. They wanted to find a good woman for me, someone who had a kind heart, someone who would love me without knowing I was rich. That's why they allowed you to stay here. Amaka's chest tightened. So even the offer to marry their son, that was all a setup. Amaka nodded. Yes, because I am their son. Amaka felt a mixture of emotions, shock, betrayal, confusion, and disbelief. Amaka, you should not have gone that far. Amaka stepped closer. Amaka, I know it was risky, but if I hadn't done this, I would never have found you. You are the most selfless, kind, and loving person I have ever met. You didn't help me because you thought I could give you anything. You helped me because you have a good heart." Amaka stared at him, her eyes filling with tears. "Amaka, this is too much for me to process." Amaka gently took her hands. "I know, and I am sorry for everything. But I need you to know something." Amaka looked up at him. Amaka got down on one knee. Amaka gasped as Amaka pulled out a small, beautiful ring from his pocket. "Amaka," he said softly, "from the moment I met you, I knew you were different. You cared for me when I had nothing. You stood by me when no one else did. You are the woman I want to spend the rest of my life with. Will you marry me?" Tears rolled down Amaka's cheeks. She had dreamed of love, but she never expected something like this. Everything she thought she knew had changed, but one thing remained the same: her love for Amaka. She smiled through her tears. "Yes, Amaka, I will marry you." Amaka slipped the ring onto her finger, and applause filled the room as Chief Okiki and Mrs. Ngozi walked in, smiling proudly. Mrs. Ngozi hugged Amaka. "Welcome to the family, my dear." Chief Okiki patted Amaka on the back. "You have made the right choice, son." Amaka wiped her tears. "I can't believe this is real." Amaka smiled. "Believe it, my love, this is just the beginning." Months later, Amaka and Amaka had a grand wedding. It was a day filled with love, laughter, and joy. People who once looked down on Amaka now admired her. She had found love most unexpectedly, and as she stood beside Amaka, looking into his eyes, she knew that she had made the best decision of her life. Because in the end, love was never about money, status, or appearances. It was about the heart, and Amaka had found the one who truly loved his. Dear viewers, what lessons did you take away from this dramatic tale? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the story, give us a thumbs up, share it with friends, and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest updates. Thanks for watching and stay blessed.